Hey guys, this is Stef from Another Now, and you're listening to Riot Vision.
I'm Natasha, I'm from Riot Vision, and today I have some questions for you. You have just released your new album, your second album, HEX.
Yeah.
I've got the question, why did you choose the name HEX?
Well, it was because at one point this album was pretty hard when it came to the songwriting. It was made during a tough time. We were working on it during the COVID period, and yeah, we had a lot of lockdowns, and also it felt like someone was always holding the brakes in some way. When it came to our progress. We weren't just a band who likes to play shows and we want to continue and pursue our goals. But when in that times something just was out of our control. So it was hard to find a motivation and just continue making music. So the album was a progress of finding our motivation, but also about the burdens that we felt. So basically this album felt like some kind of curse in the time period that we made. So curse equals hex.
I think I kind of get it. So before you have released Omni Plus, as far as I know, I think that was during COVID 2020.
Yeah, definitely. Omni was created in the COVID period. In that moment, we just wanted to make something new. We already had an album plan, but suddenly COVID came around, and we just wanted to continue making music. And I think it was pretty good for us to still go into the studio, being away from home, just escaping all these negative influences in the world at that time. So Omni was also an outlet in some way that we just could, five guys just making music, having fun in a difficult time.
After Omni, did you have like live shows? Because probably not because of COVID, right?
Yeah, we did some couple shows. We also had 2 live streams at a venue, and we also played one specific show in a venue where the audience could sit with the proper distance, etc. And that felt kind of weird. Everyone was sitting there at a table wearing masks, and it felt so how do you say it, distant. It wasn't personal at all, and it was very hard for us as a band to enjoy that moment. But
doesn't feel like a metal show, right?
No, not at all. It felt very forced in some way, and because you couldn't read the expressions on someone's faces, and that makes it so much harder to enjoy the moment. And we also had some regulations in the Netherlands were lifted at some point. So we I think it was the end of 21 or 22, and we still we played like 3 shows, I think, one in my hometown and also a festival. And those were the moments that we realized this is why we're in a band. And eventually there was still an effect on our live shows after COVID, because a lot of things were postponed, like live shows from a lot of bigger bands coming from the US or other places from Europe, the bigger bands. And it's for a upcoming band pretty hard to squeeze in the bill. So I think we've passed that point right now that we can finally enjoy being on stage again, that we can play shows again. Yeah, especially when you have a new album, it's so cool to play all these new tracks live. That's what you want to do eventually as a musician.
Yeah, I totally get that. So let's talk about the album itself. Like the album has like various elements in it, like new metal,
Yeah.
modern metalcore, let's say electronic music. What's the main influence of the album? Like any musician or?
No, yeah, we don't often look at other bands or what they're doing. We just want to head into the studio and do our own thing. We just want to dive in the studio and see what comes up, and whatever comes up in a moment takes the lead for the music. And we like to freestyle a lot, so there were a lot of sessions where we just didn't even write new lyrics, so we just stood there behind the mic just spitting all those random things, and that's how we did it. And eventually, when we compare it to other bands like Nirvana did a lot of those improvised stuff in studio, so in some way that's pretty inspiring for us to do that the exact way. And yeah, that's basically what we did. It was just 5 guys in the studio, one like, yeah, the moment, taking the lead, writing what we want to write about. Yeah, it's just basically, if we felt angry at a time, just yeah, let's write a banger, let's write a heavy track. And eventually one of those tracks was HEX, the main title of the album. And that was made during when, I think, in the Netherlands there was another lockdown coming up, and we were so angry that we just wanted to write a banger, just spitting all those negative things in the mic. And I think we wrote that song in like 4 hours maybe. Yeah, and in my opinion, it's one. Yeah, it's pretty fast, and especially because Rick, he's our producer, and yeah, he's the magician behind the buttons. So he, in some way, and it's pretty weird when you're, especially when you're writing riffs, and yeah, Rick just cuts and pastes all these things. Like, how do you even do that quickly? And yeah, that's so awesome to have those type of experiences with a producer in the band.
So you said you wrote it like all together and really fast, some songs, like you felt it. So it still feels like a whole album itself. Like, is that concept or anything?
Well, there is a concept, because every track is about us, and us having I think, yeah, it's kind of bipolar, if you know what I mean. It's sometimes it's pretty dark and mysterious and heavy, and at some point we also wanted to write more uplifting songs like Doubt. And Doubt is more like, yeah, a track to motivate people to chase after their dreams. And yeah, also a lot of tracks were very heavy, and just an outlet for us to spit all those negative energy. So it's the curse, the struggle we had during the making of this album. So yeah, that's basically what it is. So it's still one coherent how do you say, a complete album, because every topic came along, like motivation, anger, sadness. And if you compare it to the human experiences, we also deal with a lot of those things. Life isn't always that happy or that dark. It's all the things combined that makes life. And I think that's what we are trying to show, and that's our message to the people. Like, life isn't always easy, life isn't always happy, life isn't always dark. there's also a line in between,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually we all grow stronger with all these experiences that we make during our life. So that's basically the concept of the album.
So you said it kind of comes from the COVID time, but it also the concept comes maybe, or this is my question, from, I think it's your background. You're working in a social.
Yeah, I'm a social worker in psychiatry. Yeah.
Is it about like yourself or something like you experienced more?
No, I think what makes this album so special is because it's all about ourselves. And we never approached a track that way, or an album, because we were always writing about topics that, yeah, that, how do you say it, were never too personal. And this album is pretty personal. We talk about a lot of different stuff that we struggled with. And with our previous album, we wrote a lot about others, and others having mental health problems, and just wanting to reach out to them and knowing that they're not alone in this. So basically, it was our previous album wasn't that personal to us, because yeah, it was pretty heavy with some topics, but it wasn't never that personal. It was basically my experiences at work. But with this album, I just said to myself, I don't want to write about others anymore. I just want to write about myself and my own experiences in life. So that was basically the turning point in our writing process. And that's what HEX is all about. It's all our personal experiences with, yeah, during a difficult time with a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, sounds pretty good to me. Like,
Thanks, man.
yeah, the album's pretty great too. So you said Omni Plus and HEX are pretty different from, you could say it's about different things, but has some similar topics, you could say. How has Another Now like musically evolved over that time in your
I
personal?
think, oh, let me turn on off a light a moment.
Yeah.
So, well, I think instrumentally and musically, we've evolved so much because we're in some way we wanted to make things a little bit more coherent, and still we like those unexpected turns and twists, but still we wanted to be a little more approachable and listenable to the people. Do you know what I mean? It's not like all those random things. We also want something you can expect from us. And I think when it came to songwriting, we also had a lot of tracks that were pretty structured still, because despite everything was pretty improvised, and we still find it important to make sure that a chorus is recognizable, people can sing along. And I think the choruses with this album are more recognizable. People can, I think, recognize the patterns and melodies much more and better. So I think we grew in that way. But also when it came to using the right amount of heaviness, I think this album is pretty dark and pretty heavy, but I think we never explored that dark spectrum of the music, because in Omni we did a lot of heavy things, but it still has a lot of melody and harmony. And with this album, we wanted to dive into that spectrum to know what else we can do on that heavy spectrum. And I think we've evolved in that one, but also vocally. If I speak for myself, I I've grown so much during this album, I do a lot of different type of vocal techniques. Like sometimes I do false chords, sometimes I do fry screams, sometimes more the Will Ramos screeching kind of thing. It's yeah, the whole blend together, and I think that makes the album very how do you say, diverse in some way, and that's what we like about music. We want it to be very diverse and um, unexpected, but still recognizable.
What really interests me is like you said, you talked about your vocals, and it's pretty interesting that you have like a lot of highs and lows there, different range, you could say. I think it's a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
range sometimes.
yeah.
Um, how how do you change that on stage? Like, I think it's pretty intense to do that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty intense, but I think I've I'm an yeah, and I don't want to be cocky or something, but I'm an experienced vocalist. I do this like for yeah, I think maybe 11 years already. So yeah, I've mastered a lot of those things, and eventually you're just trying to push your boundaries and trying to look after. You're trying to set new goals. You're trying to do new things, and you want to do it all at the same time. And I think that is my challenge, which I find very very fucking good to do that as a vocalist, just pushing those boundaries. And in some way, it feels very how do you say it? I'm pretty stoked to push our music to the limits with new kind of things that I haven't done before. So like yeah, those more high screeching things. I've been exploring it since Omni, but after that I just wanted to know if like can I go any higher or can I go any lower? And that's so awesome to do that as a vocalist on your new album, just pushing your boundaries, doing the best what you've got. And I think, yeah, I've laid a pretty good fundament when it comes to vocals because uh, I learned everything by myself. But I also had a vocal seminar with Aaron Metz from ex-Betraying the Martyrs and 1056, and he learned me how to do those false chord things in like one session. And that one session was so significant for my development as a vocalist. After that, I've been yeah skyrocketing ever since with my vocals. So that's pretty awesome. And I'm still trying to learn new things because I think learning never stops, and that's the great thing about music. It never ends. So you're constantly trying to find a new challenge and find and set new goals.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting with not just singing, just vocals, because there are so many sorry, that was German techniques
Yeah.
that that are around now. Like when you look up a few years ago, like okay, not a few years, like 20 years ago, all the vocals
Yeah,
were
the quality
different.
of vocals has been
Yeah,
never been so high. If you
yeah,
compare it to like what you said 15 years ago, yeah, we had role models like Mitch Lucker, and
yeah,
he set the tone for a lot of vocalists. And from that point, ever since, people have been surpassing all that all that Mitch Lucker did, and that's so pretty awesome to that that there are still vocalists also trying to yeah, searching the spectrum, what else the voice can do. And also science is coming along, like recording the how do you say it? the vocal cords with cameras inside. Yeah, and that's so awesome to see the science behind it. And I think that's what we're trying to do. And a lot of vocal coaches trying to understand this type of technique, because it's sometimes people compare it to Mongolian throat singing or opera.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So it feels that a lot of vocal coaches are taking it seriously, and somehow makes it very approachable for the I think more mainstream music.
Yeah. About the Mongolian singers, it's like, does every vocalist does that tried that after seeing that?
Well, yeah, eventually every metal vocalist wants to learn something new, and it's pretty cool to hear Mongolian Tuvian throat singing. That's pretty awesome. You want to do that as well, because it's just a challenge that you want to accept, and like, I can do that. Just wait.
Yeah.
In a week or two, I've mastered it like a pro. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And I think there's a lot of similar vibrations when you compare it to heavy vocals.
So you also did try that at home?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
A lot. It's also right now part of my warming up. So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
The band is going crazy when I do that type of shit again, because my vocal warming up is pretty long, so sometimes they're irritated, but yeah, it's just the way my voice works best.
So maybe in the next album you could do Mongolian, like Mongolian chords, you say? Something like that?
Yeah, Mongolian throat singing.
Throat singing, yes. That
Yeah.
was the right term. Yeah, for next album.
Yeah. Challenge accepted.
Yeah. So like, there were a lot of interludes on the album HEX. Is there a special background about that?
Those we had written 3 interludes, and sometimes we thought that the album needed a little more air, a little pause in some way, and that's the function of an interlude, in our opinion, for this album. And Rick wrote all the interludes, and he came up with it and just pitched it to us during a session in studio, and we were like, yeah, cool, why not? Because the album needs a little more air, a time for people to breathe, or because sometimes it can be very very chaotic with all those type of changes that we use in our music. And there's not really a story behind it. We just also love the electronic parts in it. Like, we have the one interlude was, I think, you will be more careful next time, is about is simply the influences of the synths that we also use a lot during choruses later in the album. So it's also a way to show people what influences we've incorporated into our tracks. Like, I think it was, which interlude was it? I think 290.
The one with the numbers.
It wasn't the one with the numbers. I can't even remember this one, but that one is pretty techno-like, and that's also showing the people that we also have a love for EDM music, and also use those type of elements in our music, like in the breakdowns, or during a chorus, or during a verse with a rap on the verse. So yeah.
Do the interludes have some, like, random setting on the album, like to breathe, like you said, or is there just is there meaning behind that?
No, there's not really a meaning behind it. It was like you said, it was a moment for people to breathe, to have some air. So that's basically it, and we feel like that also creates a vibe, a build up towards the next track.
Yeah, totally get that. I think I like the interludes the most, to actually breathe, because the album, there were a lot of elements and I loved that, and then the interludes were like, sometimes I'm going into autopilot or like I'm going, I don't know, I listen to something and I think about something else and I don't
Yeah,
think about the
yeah,
music. And those
yeah.
interludes were like sometimes like, okay, good, I'm still on the album,
Yeah.
breathe, and now let's go on. And it felt pretty good. Yeah, it was
Uh,
great.
awesome. Yeah. Well, that's basically the thing why we wanted those interludes in the album. So yeah,
That's
that was a
good.
girl.
So is there anything new coming up, or are you already working on something new, or it's just like, okay, we have just released that, going on tour or something like that?
Yeah, we're planning a lot of shows in these couple of months to promote our new album. So tomorrow we've got our first headline show in Groningen. So we're pretty stoked to do that one. Yeah, but also we're also planning to do maybe a deluxe version of HEX with some tracks that never made the album. Maybe rewrite it something, or that's basically what we're doing right now. Just playing shows because that's the thing that we love about we love about being in a band. And eventually at one point also going back into the studios to work some tracks and come up with a HEX deluxe version. So more to be continued for sure.
Those new tracks, are they like something more HEX like, or is there something new that maybe didn't make the album because it was kind of different, it didn't work with it or in it?
No, I think we wanted to be, yeah, we already had 15 tracks on the album. So
Yeah,
that's a
that's a
lot
lot.
for an album. So eventually you have to kill your darlings. And I think I think we still have a couple of tracks that still has that HEX vibe. Um, so yeah, it would be a shame to throw it all away and do nothing with it. I think one of those tracks has a lot of, yeah, also very heavy verses with a heavy breakdown, but also a weird hip hop kind of beat flaws. And that's also the things that we love about in music, and I think that's also pretty much what HEX is about. So those tracks will definitely be released at a later time.
So I'm pretty curious how this is going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Name.
anything you want to say to your fans or something like that? A small
Yeah, for
message.
sure. Yeah, for sure. Hey guys, this is Stef from Other Than Now. Make sure to follow us on our socials, and we've got still some awesome merch on our web store. We've got vinyls coming up later in June, so make sure to go to our web store and see what we all got for you guys. Just stay tuned, and definitely more is coming up. See you guys later.
And check out their new album, HEX.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Check out our new album, HEX. It's out now. Just if you don't have anything to do, just head over to Spotify when you're in your car, when you're running, when you're at home bitching around and just don't know what to do. Just go over to Spotify and listen to HEX, and your day will be good as new.